Time for Eye on Africa. The headlines. Michelle Obama heads to Morocco to champion education for girls in a country with one of the highest illiteracy rates in the world. UN peacekeepers in Liberia hand over security duty to local forces. There are fears over a lack of equipment and corruption. The new report highlights French complicity in the crimes of former Chadian dictator Hissène Habré. Its author will be joining us here in the studio. Start with US First Lady Michelle Obama, who's in Morocco to promote girls' education, joined by her mother and daughters. And actress Meryl Streep. The visit comes as Washington spends a further $100 million to help tackle one of the highest rates of illiteracy in the world. Stands at around 33% across the population, but at a staggering 41% for women. With details, here's our correspondent, Margot Chivance.
During this visit, the American government announces a series of programs to promote girls' education in Morocco. Among them, a program of $100 million for a new secondary education system in partnership with the Moroccan authorities. We have met with Bushra, a student from Ouarzazate, who had the chance to talk with the First Lady.
It was very inspiring because, she shared with us many tips in how to be brave and how to overcome your struggles and your community struggles, and how to be powerful and lead the world. I think I am lucky because I have my mom knows the value of education because she didn't have the chance to go to school, so she just pushes me to study and to do a lot of things, and she always tell me that marriage is not your priority, always school.
Morocco is part of the 21 less advanced countries in terms of education. In the countryside, only 18% of girls has the chance to go to high school. Tomorrow, Michelle Obama will go to Spain to end up a tour that I brought her to Liberia and Cape Verde.
Liberia next, where the United Nations peacekeeping mission is set to hand control of security to national forces. It's after 13 years in the country. The Liberian government says its personnel are ready for the task, but that hasn't stopped concerns over a lack of equipment and corruption.
Preparing to take responsibility for Liberia's security. These police officers are on a drill to demonstrate their readiness before the UN returns control of security to the country's military and police. It's a proud moment for this West African country, which has had UN peacekeepers since 2003.
The national security apparatus is ready to assume this great responsibility. Preparation in security, there will always be room for improvement. So yes, there are challenges, there are gaps that we still need to fill, and honor our own national security policy. We continue to do that to strengthen our apparatus in the areas of logistics, the areas of training.
15,000 peacekeepers were sent to Liberia after 2 civil wars that killed hundreds of thousands of people. The wars became known for their use of child soldiers, recruited by warlord-turned-president Charles Taylor. The UN's job was to disarm fighters on both sides and train up a new police force and army. Many police are happy with their training, but say they need more resources.
The Liberian National Police need cars, we need communications, okay, and we need other logistical items like uniforms, okay. So in addition to training, we need logistics.
The UN's peacekeeping mission had a budget of $344 million a year. Liberia's draft budget for national security this year stands at almost a quarter of that figure. And with chronic underfunding come concerns about corruption and accountability. But despite the challenges ahead, it's finally time for Liberians to take back control.
To Chad now, and the continued fallout from the trial of former President Hissène Habré. In May, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for crimes against humanity by an African Union-backed court. Judges in the Senegalese capital Dakar also convicting him over rape, sexual slavery and killings carried out by police during his time in office from 1982 to 1990. Now, the spotlight's fallen on the level of complicity of his Western allies, the United States, and, above all, France. That's the subject of the next edition of Reporters Plus, coming up here on France 24 on July the 9th. In the meantime, here's a preview of that report.
Given what the regime in Tripoli is doing, we require And we ask that France join our side to repel this external threat.
À nos côtés pour repousser l'agression extérieure.
I think Mitterrand was anxious to avoid commitment in Chad, but he couldn't escape it. He and his government could not escape it in reality.
Hissène Habre gets what he wanted, the engagement of the French military. Gaddafi backs down and signs an agreement with François Mitterrand. He agrees to withdraw his troops from Chad.
As soon as Hissène Habré became the chief strategist in a country that is strategic for us, we began to let him do as he liked. He found himself in a position of great importance for the French and at the same time for the Americans. We gave him carte blanche. We closed our eyes to what he was doing. From the moment we told him, all we ask of you is that you keep a hold on your country, how could he not abuse that position?
Merci infiniment. Merci.
Hissène Habre is named the Lion of the UNIR Party, the National Union for Independence and Revolution. Thousands of Chad's citizens fall victim to his ferocious reign.
During our investigation, we uncovered 7 detention centers in N'Djamena alone. As one former detainee said, N'Djamena was nothing but a big prison.
Well, the extent of France's complicity in Habré's crimes is the subject of a new report by Human Rights Watch. I'm joined now by its author, Henri Thuilliez. Thanks very much for talking to us. Tell us a little bit more about what exactly the French did.
Well, the French helped Hissène Habré to take power. Then they helped him to keep power by sending the French army twice, which is the biggest deployment of the French army since the war against Algeria. And then in Chad, they maintain a strong network of the secret services, which helped to train agents of the DDS, which is the political police of Hissène Habré.
Which is the organisation accused of some of these
Absolutely.
crimes.
This is the main tool which helped Habré to commit his crimes.
We saw some French, Roland Dumas and other French officials speaking in that little report. Their realpolitik, they justify it saying that it was necessary, they had no choice.
Yes, that's what they're saying, because at this time the United States and France were seeing Chad and Hissène Habré as a bulwark against Gaddafi and against Libya. However, French authorities and the US already had enough information to think that serious crimes were being committed in Chad, including in the south of Chad during 83, 84, and 85. And yet they kept on helping Hissène Habré, giving him weapons, ammunition, training for his soldiers, etc., etc.
What could they have done differently in terms of that conflict?
Well, they could have conditioned their assistance to the respect of human rights by Hissène Habré. They could have tried to use their diplomatic services to try to stop Hissène Habré to commit serious crimes. Nowadays, Hissène Habré is convicted of crimes against humanity, torture and war crimes, and we have to make sure in the future that these governments don't help the new Habré of this time.
Do you want to see more people, Westerners, Western backers of Habré, held to account?
Not held to account, but at least to create investigation, commission of inquiry, to understand what happened and why we kept on helping this person who is now a criminal.
Henri Thuilliez, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Eye on Africa. Coming up after the break, the headlines with Mark Eye.